everyone, this is Corinth Landwalker, and today we have another exciting experience to go to in Star Citizen. I can see that my Twitch bot is already shilling for me. They are currently at the back end of a free flight event in Star Citizen. If you don't have an account and you want to try it out, go ahead and click the link there. It'll use my referral code, so you'll get some extra credits, and I'll get some extra credits. Nothing huge, but hey, every little bit helps. We are done with the official Invictus event. However, there was one manufacturer that was not invited. Maybe it's because they don't have any military contracts. Maybe it's because they tend to supply militias more than anybody else. Perhaps because they supply pirates more than anybody else. Perhaps it's because their ships are just garbage. Yeah, hello Legend, the best manufacturer. We all have our little biases, and today we're going to set aside the kayfabe, as the wrestlers would call it, and take a look that is unbiased and objective, at least as far as I can be, by looking at Drake Interplanetary. And because they were not invited to Invictus, they are running their own defense con, not in the exhibit halls over at Tobin, but rather in a hangar here at New Babbage Spaceport. So we are going to follow the signs and take an elevator, and we're going to look at the ships that Drake Interplanetary manufactures. I will try to keep my personal prejudices over to the side for today. I cannot guarantee I will be 100% successful because, heck, I've made a reputation out of trashing Drake at every opportunity, and it hurts not to do so now. But, you know, I'm willing to sacrifice for my viewers. So, here we go. After the fleet launches, who's left to protect you? So you can already tell who exactly Drake is marketing their ships to. Everybody else. And, to be fair, they do have a certain point. As many starships that are out there that are military, the fact is, there are a lot more civilians than there are military people. And Drake is all about mass manufacturing. So, I guess we'll start with the obvious guy first, since, you know, they're right in front of me. And yes, it doesn't qualify as a military ship. But on the other hand, this is not the Invictus show. This is Drake. They get to make their own rules. Henceforth, we have here the Drake Caterpillar. Until very, very, very recently, the best cargo starship in the game. That kind of got kicked to the side with the introduction of the C2 Hercules. However, the Caterpillar has one major advantage right now that the C2 does not. You can buy it in-game right now. The C2, I'm betting that maybe by the Expo in November, the C2 will be able to be purchased in-game. That still is the best, eh, Legend? Debatable. And the reason it's debatable, as opposed to being a flat-out lie, is because in the future, theoretically speaking, each of these cargo bays are going to be modular, which means theoretically they can be replaced. Instead of being a cargo hold, they'll be something else. Maybe they'll have a scanning section you can put in, or maybe a drone section. I don't think there's a whole lot of details as to what they're going to do about that, but the potential is there. Whereas the C2 and the other Hercules variants, they're more or less locked into what they're designed for, which is hauling vehicles. And admittedly, yes, they have a whole bunch of cargo space because they have all these vehicles they can carry. But they cannot be swapped out to be anything other than what they are. Medbay, maybe. Well, you know, hey, that's not outside the realm of possibility. The Caterpillar is something that'll be flexible in the future. Right now, it's just a cargo hauler, but the design behind it is to allow for the possibility of other modules. So that'll be something to keep an eye out on over the coming years. It also has a detachable command module, which, technically speaking, doesn't actually detach right now. But it's in the design docs, and theoretically, with the fact they're able to detach and reattach the Merlins off of the constellations now, I would have to think that it's not on the roadmap, so it's probably not going to happen soon. But the potential is there now. They just need to iron out the docking bugs first. Okay, well, I guess the next step is to go to the right-hand side here and start in with the starship that Drake is most associated with. The Cutlass series. And sure, they're not marketing these to pirates. I mean, just because they're using the name of the most infamous weapon of a pirate, that's just a coincidence. But I wasn't going to do that. We're going to look at it objectively. And objectively, the Cutlass Black is a pretty decent mid-sized ship. Its usual point of comparison is the Misk Freelancer. And they both fit similar niches. They haul cargo, they're medium-sized, yeah, total coincidence. They have decent armament, they can fight, they can carry smaller vehicles, all the way up to the Grey Cat Rock. The baseline Rock, not the DS. I don't know if they will fit the DS. Anyway, the difference here is focus. Yeah. Oh, so we're already getting the children's taunts, aren't we? Yeah, Dad's Cutlass beat up the Dad's Freelancer. And, you know, there is some truth to that, though, because the simple fact is Drake is designing ships for militias. Misk is designing ships for industrialists. It's a question of focus. So, in other words, I like to put it this way. The Freelancer is a cargo ship that can fight, and the Cutlass is a fighting ship that can haul cargo. This can also be seen. This difference can be seen in the variants of both ships as well. The Freelancer has, for example, a variant that will do exploration, a military variant which has heaps of missiles, and a variant that is just more cargo. And the exploration and the combat variants do sacrifice cargo space for it. Whereas Drake, their variants are more to their focus. The Cutlass Red, for example, is a ship you would expect to be available for a militia, and it's basically a medical ship, an ambulance sort of thing. It's got a pair of med bays inside, which is very useful. In fact, I consider the Cutlass Red the indispensable ship for doing bunker missions or cave missions. Primarily because A, it has the medical bays, B, it's got the firepower and shielding to survive an attack by bunker turrets. It may take damage in the process, depending on how good a pilot you are, but you'll get there. And finally, and this is important, it's got a small footprint. I mean, everything I've just said works if you take a Carrack to a bunker. But you can land the Cutlass Red anywhere, just about. Whereas the Carrack is just a large ship, so it's a little trickier. All that combines to make the Cutlass Red, in my personal opinion, the best possible ship for ground FPS missions. Now, what you'll see back here, we'll just take a quick look, because I've shown the red before, is that it has a much smaller cargo bay. Plus, there may be a problem with the ramp. Let me demonstrate this by taking a quick flashback. Looks like I have to get on the ship first. The Cutlass Red, which is arguably the only good ship Drake has ever manufactured. And honestly, it's less because of the ship and more because of... Yes, this is Drake manufactured, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, Drake interplanetary workmanship at... So, you know, that says it all. No, that wasn't on the show floor. Hi, Demented Warlock. Glad to have you joining my stream. That was just a flashback from last week's stream where I was getting on board someone's Cutlass and it kind of exploded. To be fair, it wasn't Drake Interplanetary's fault. It had to do with a bug that CIG is currently trying to stamp out, and it still hasn't quite worked out. Let's see, the Carrack doesn't have the missiles to take out turrets. That's true. What it does have, however, are shields that are almost impossible for the turrets to take down at the moment. No, it was Drake Interplanetary's poor manufacturing. Nope. I said I wasn't going to do that. Deep breath. Calm. Center. I promised not to trash Drake today, so I'm trying very hard to stick with that. Over here, we have the Cutlass Blue. And this is probably the more military-oriented of the Cutlass series. It's designed to act as a police vessel. And what that means is it has a quantum disruption weapon, something along those lines, that'll shut down the ability to quantum jump away. It's also got in the back some handy cells, and we're going to take a little bit more of a look at this later because I'm going to rent this one. All the ships on the floor can be rented free of charge. That's not all, though. I'll come to that in a moment. Because with the end of Invictus comes the ability to do a little something else. But in the meantime, we're going to continue wandering back and taking a look at the other stuff here in the showroom. I use the word showroom loosely because this is really just a big landing bay. It's just not in use. Over here we have Drake's Buccaneer, which I'm also going to rent. The Buccaneer is a gunship. Nothing more. And it does that job very well. It has lots of guns on it. Missiles. We're going to be taking this for a spin. We're going to try out... I understand that things have improved a bit since the last time I've flown it, so we'll see how good it really is. Now over here, we're going to take a look at the Drake Herald, one of the two most useless starships in the game. Let's see. Buccaneer, currently the best light fighter in the game. We'll put that to the test. I can't say that about this one, though. And this is actually not trashing Drake, because the other most useless ship in the game right now is the Terrapin from Anvil. Personal opinion, granted. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that their primary gameplay doesn't exist yet. For the Terrapin, it's mostly exploration. But the Herald is a data runner. And that gameplay is definitely not around yet. That's a problem with the Mercury Star Runner as well. What I'm going to do is, we'll just take... I'm not going to really rent this ship today. I think we'll have our hands full with the Blue and the Cutlass. And the Buccaneer. But you can see it's kind of... Well, the typical Drake manufacturer inside here. But I'm not doing it this is not my belittling tone. This is more along the lines of this is how they do things, which is very utilitarian, very sparse. I mean, you got insulation bags here. You got a scanning station up here, and you've got the cockpit. And that's pretty much all there is to the Drake interior. Sorry, the Herald interior. What the Herald does have, and this is the one reason why I put it slightly higher than the Terrapin, is the engines. I mean, take a look at these engines. I'm being blocked by a rail. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Let's go back this way. Here we go. Take a look at those engines. Those things are huge. Let's see. Sometimes take the Herald and do probe deployment and create my own gameplay for it. Probe deployment? Are you talking like the missions at Fort Olisar? I think those are the only ones I can think of that are basically box missions. Yeah, okay. I've actually never really done too many probe missions. Mainly because when I started out and was doing all this kind of thing... Yeah, sure, Legend. When I was doing this kind of thing, the probe missions were bugged. And I couldn't get the package. I'll have to give it a try again sometime, see what it's like. But those engines make the Drake Herald, if I'm recalling correctly, the fastest ship in the game when it comes to under quantum travel speeds. Yeah, they were jacked. Just wish there was some progression on it. Yeah. When they get the data running stuff put in, then the Herald is going to come into its full glory. But right now, instead of being a data runner, it's just a runner. Someday. I hear that. I hear that. Now there's something else that should be on the floor, but I'm not seeing it at the moment, so that tells me either I've missed it entirely or it's hiding somewhere. And that would be the Drake Dragonfly. Not in my lifetime, eh? Yeah, I was reading a web cartoon on that recently. If you look hard enough, you will undoubtedly find where there's a cartoon about someone who has left in his will his Star Citizen account. And then, in the future, he leaves his Star Citizen account to his son. That may very well be the way it ends up going. Ah, here we are. I'm going completely wrong direction. Display hall. Now, you'll notice in the display hall we have gotten Traveler's Rental Terminals. And the reason why I'm pointing them out here is because every single ship in the game, including the stuff apparently that was not on Invictus, can be rented for free today, tomorrow, and the 2 days after that. So if there's any ship in the game you ever wanted to try to fly, these next few days are the days to do it. Let's see, watch some of the old Gamescom, and 2015, Idris was flying by. I said, yeah, we were taking Idris as an awesome thing. Yeah, once the Idris started showing up regularly, that kind of upped the game, shall we say. And then the Javelin, of course, showing up in person during the Zenith Threat. And it also showed up during last year's Invictus Week. And of course, last week, the Bengal started flying around, which is not a player ship, but the largest ship in the UEE fleet right now. And there's the Dragonfly. I was wondering where you were. Oh, no, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I am more than happy to chat with people, Warlock. Nothing to worry about. It keeps things interesting for everybody, I think. The Drake Dragonfly is probably well, there's two hover bikes currently in the game. The Alboa Nox and this. The Nox looks cool, but it sucks. And the reason it sucks is because it's not exactly stable. It tends to like to fall over on an alarmingly regular basis. You do not have that trouble with the Dragonfly. And my Streamlabs bot is once again doing its job in filling my accounts. If you have an interest in flying any ship currently in this game, and you don't have an account in Star Citizen, go ahead and click that link. It'll use my referral code. Download the game. Come to New Babbage. Come to the spaceport and rent any ship you want at these terminals, which I've passed all the way back there, but they are there. Now, let's see. If we go over to the shadowy corners here, we will see that Drake does have a couple things out there still on their list. This, for example, the Drake Kraken. And if there's one ship that Drake is developing that is going to put the oohs and ahs in the player base, the Kraken is it. Because the Kraken is, for all intents and purposes,